Welcome back to the Edwards Report. My name's Kaylin, and can I just apologize in advance because I'm about to share some really bad news. Did you know that in 2025, the average American must now dedicate 35% of their income to mortgage payments, and that's up from 25% in 2020. With homes priced at $400,000, that required only $65,000 incomes just 4 years ago. Now they're demanding $175,000 salaries. The American dream of home ownership has become an impossible nightmare.
You know what sucks? When you work your whole life to buy a house, and then when you think that you make enough money to finally buy one, they're unaffordable. And I don't see them going down anytime soon. Literally, it's my one dream to buy a house. I figured, okay, once I hit $100,000 a year, I'll be able to afford my own house. So I hit that, still can't afford my own house, so I picked up like 2 other ways of making money.
That's what I believe growing up too. 100K was the goal until you make 100K and you realize it don't go as far as you thought it would.
So that brings my income even higher than that, to the point where a couple years ago I would have been able to afford a house on my own. Now, where I live, about $450K to $600,000. And no, I can't move. So that's not even an option. I can't move out of the state that I'm in. And I'm in Massachusetts, so housing here is like insane. I just don't know how they think this is feasible. Houses are practically unaffordable. I mean, anybody working at minimum wage, good luck getting a house, because there's no way. It's impossible. I mean, even the salary that I make, I can't even afford one on my own, which is...
It doesn't seem like they want people to be owning homes. You know, they want you to own nothing and be happy.
Ridiculous. Because a couple years ago I could have. Or like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. They could buy a house on a minimum wage job. I read a post the other day, a mailman could support his whole family, a mailman, on just his salary in a house.
Ain't nothing wrong with the mailman. So y'all be talking down on the mailman, the trash man. No, they make good money. Y'all better ask somebody.
It doesn't seem like that's ever going to happen again here. It seems like you either have to be like married to a rich person, or you have to make like $200,000 a year, which just like isn't possible for a lot of people. Like, it just sucks. This feels like us millennials and Gen Z are like screwed out of getting a house. I just really hope things change, because the American dream doesn't even feel like that is possible anymore. You know, we work. What are we working towards if we can't even afford anything?
Has anyone else seen that Zillow commercial about the friends going in and buying a house together and then making it like it's like, oh, I'd buy a house with your girls. No. Why is the media trying to normalize not being able to afford housing? Why are they trying to make this seem like a normal thing? Oh,
because they need to program everyone so that y'all don't uprise. You know, you don't want to cause a stir.
Can't buy a house? Go in with your friends. Okay, but the key is we should not have to do that, you see? We should be able to afford a house if we want a fucking house. That just did not sit right with me. I don't fuck with that. The media trying to normalize these things? No. Not cool. This is not normal. This is not how it should be.
The housing market is flashing red. Adjustable rate mortgages, the kind that helped blow up the economy in 2008, are now being used at the highest rate in over 2 years. Why? Well, mortgage rates just spiked again, up 20 basis points in a week. New single-family homes for sale in the U.S. surging to 500,000 in February, reaching the highest since November of 2007.
That's insane, guys. Look at that chart.
But even with more homes for sale, buyers are pulling back.
Well, I see so many houses every day on Zillow that are just so overpriced for what they are. But this one just really sent me over the edge. All right, this is the house listed for $299,000.
Don't look too bad from the outside, but looks can be
$300,000. Okay, I'm like, whatever, there's no driveway. The garage door looks super damaged on the outside. Like, maybe the inside's cute. This is the inside. Look at those carpets. Like, obviously, this is just a bunch of shit.
Okay, this looks like a hoarder's home.
So it looks probably worse than it is. But even if you take all the shit out, like, what? Those are just rugs on shit carpet. The walls look like fucking cardboard. The door looks like cardboard.
Whoa.
Like, what am I looking at right now? What am I looking at? Look at this nasty bathroom.
I'm actually surprised that this is able to be sold on the regular MLS. Like, this looks like something that needs to be sold to an investor for like 40 cents on the dollar.
Like, the ceiling looks like it's like falling down there. Nasty carpet. Again, that would need to be completely... Those look like literally feces droppings. Like, I just know this place fucking stinks. Like, this home was not cared for at all. Like, maybe a decent kitchen. I can't tell if that's hardwood or vinyl flooring, but like...
We know that ain't no wood. That ain't no wood, because the countertops look like a laminate too, so...
Another outdated bathroom. What is going on there? What is going on there? By the looks of it, this place should be fucking condemned. Like, there's definitely mold in this house. Look, that guy's wearing a fucking hazmat. Oh my...
No! No! They got the Ghostbusters in there! He's in a hazmat suit! Oh my goodness!
I haven't even gotten this far. That dude is wearing a fucking hazmat suit.
Is somebody dying there? What?
This is astonishing. Like, $300,000 for this house. That should probably be condemned. What is this? What is this? What is that? It is literally just getting worse and worse. Like, are we for real? This is a fucking project house. This should not be $300,000 fucking dollars. This is so... Look at that deck. You can't fucking stand on that.
Yeah, this cannot be sold on the regular MLS. This is insane. This wouldn't even... You couldn't even get a mortgage on this house. This would not pass inspection. No lender would insure this house. No lender would back this. No
Collapse. Like, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,700 square feet, and like less than 1 acre. And to top it all off, your property taxes are like $8,000 a year.
Like, what do you even get when you purchase a house nowadays? Some of these places in the country, crazy. This is insane. I want to convince you guys that there's really a problem here, because some of you guys still probably don't get it. Y'all not hearing them. Y'all watching, but you're not hearing them. Guys, the housing market has reached crisis levels. The United States sales have plummeted to a 10-year low, yet prices continue to relentlessly climb. The median home now costs $403,000, a figure completely disconnected from the economic reality of average incomes. In 2015, the average 30-year fixed loan was 3.7%, with a $645 monthly payment on the median home. Today, at 6.8%, that payment has skyrocketed to $1,843, nearly tripling, while household incomes have only grown by about 50%. This has created what analysts call the affordability trap, where even 6-figure incomes can't secure decent housing in many areas. Warning signs of systemic failure are flashing red. Adjustable rate mortgages, the same risky loans that fueled the 2008 collapse, are now being used at the highest rate in 2 decades. Buyers are gambling their financial futures just to get a foothold in this broken market. And the evidence of collapse is surrounding us. And what's crazy is, even in Florida, that experienced a pandemic boom, in many counties, they're experiencing unprecedented population loss, with domestic migration down 80% in some areas. Landlords are reporting mass vacancies, even as they maintain unsustainable asking rents. Today's housing market demands impossible math. In cities across America, you now need to earn $120,000 just to be able to afford a basic home. And then in coastal markets, homes that sold for $300,000 in 2020 are now priced at $650,000 with no improvements in the quality. Meanwhile, property taxes and insurance costs have surged 200% in many regions, making the carrying cost nearly as expensive as the mortgage itself. And that's something that hits close to home for me, because my mortgage is lower than it costs to insure this place. It's insane. The brutal reality is that housing has transformed from a basic need to a speculative asset, with devastating consequences for average average American families trying to establish some semblance of stability. If you guys are feeling the crushing weight of today's housing crisis, go ahead and subscribe to this channel and hit the like button on this video so you guys can stay informed, because I'm going to be bringing it to you guys raw. I'm not going to edit it. Are you currently priced out of buying in your area? I want to know. Go ahead and share your thoughts in the comment section below.
All right, a big shift coming right in the heart of the spring housing market, something we haven't seen in quite a while.
Well, Becky, it's prices. They are still gaining slightly, but they are slowing down quickly. And in several major markets, they are now lower compared with a year ago. Take a look at these numbers from Parcel Labs, which runs real-time price data.
Look at Austin. Austin was booming. Austin was booming. I moved from California to Texas just before the pandemic, and prices were moderately reasonable. And then at the very beginning of the pandemic, there was a deflationary period where the prices were low and Austin was hot. I remember driving all around the Austin metro area, eventually moved to DFW, drove all around this area as well. Look at Austin, because it was booming.
Miami, Atlanta, Tampa, San Francisco, Nashville, and Minneapolis are now negative year over year in prices, and Austin, a major pandemic migration market, is tanking. Other large markets like Phoenix and Denver, they're right on the verge of being in the red. Now, another report from Redfin showed home sellers gave concessions to buyers in 44% of sales transactions.
And as a former realtor during the height of all of this craziness, all of the mania, during the peak, this was not happening. It was a seller's market. People were buying stuff sight unseen. You guys remember?
Actions in Q1 of this year. That's up from 39% a year earlier and just shy of the 45% record high at the start of 2023. Those include money toward repairs, closing costs, and or mortgage rate buydowns, but not price cuts. Now, something else in the March numbers. The median price of a newly built home was slightly lower than that of an existing home, and there is usually a price premium for new construction, so that's not normal. Part of this is builders lowering prices and offering more low-priced homes, and still a relatively tight and overpriced existing home market. Now remember, home prices are up over 50% in just the last 5 years, which again is something else, not exactly normal. So even with builders cutting prices and more supply coming on the existing home markets, buyers have hit the pause button right at the height of the all-important spring market.
The housing situation is so bad. Like, when I tell you I'm looking for like an apartment, a 2-bed apartment, 2-bathroom with my best friend, where I live, it is so hard to find an apartment that's worth the price that they're asking for. Like, if I'm gonna be paying upwards to $2,000, like even a little bit more than that, like, y'all better be giving me like everything that I need. Like, why am I going to be paying $2,000 for 2-bed, 2-bath, right? And y'all don't even have the basic amenities. Telling me I'm going to have to go fetch my own water and stuff. Like, no. Like, and I moved from Miami where the housing prices were insane. Like $1,500, $1,700 for a studio. And with no increase in actual wages, how do you think people are going to afford these apartments? And then on top of that, these apartments are never full. There's always vacancies. But homelessness is on the rise. Like, it's just the way that the system is working is just not conducive at all.
My apartment increased my rent by 10%, you guys. 10%. Oh my, 10%. Can you believe that? Anyways, I really want to stay in this building. And you guys know I decided I'm not leaving Miami anymore. So we try to negotiate 6%. And they said they'll do the 6% increase. Better than nothing, you guys. But I had no idea that they would even try to raise it. Like, I thought it would be like a 3% increase.
Cool little 1, 2, 3%. 3 is even high. I'm surprised she was expecting 3.
Increase 10%. It's not even like COVID times. This is 2025. I don't know if this is normal in the US, you guys. I'm renting an apartment. Is this normal? Is this normal in the US? Is it?
So my apartment just sent the lease renewal, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that I would be ridiculous if I were to accept. Mind you, I live in a 400 and something square foot studio, right? It's nice, it's aesthetic. Some of you all said, lovely apartment. Thank you. It has one closet. There we go. But I just got the renewal.
closet.
And reminder, I told you, around somewhere in the 400 square foot, right? They increased it $400.
For each square foot. That's crazy. It's not funny, but it's crazy.
$400. The gym downstairs, through all the 3 treadmills has something wrong, or 4 have something wrong with it. The entire time that I've lived here, one of them just broken the entire time. But I'm okay I can look past that. But $400 for 400 square feet, making on the same page that I probably should renew my lease, right? I should start looking. I live in Boston, so you know it's already expensive, and I don't really want roommates, so that's just not gonna happen. My budget really is underneath 3K, like 3K and below. With this, it would be above 3K. It would be a few $100s above 3K. So just making sure that we're on the same page that I should not renew my lease, right?
I hate the world we live in. I really do. I can't afford a regular apartment because who has fucking $2-3 grand a month to pay for that? So I've been on wait lists for years, literally 5 years, for an income-based apartment. Finally, so close to getting one, right? And I actually could afford it. No, I make too much money to qualify because I got a second job to help pay my bills. So now I make $4,000 too much to qualify. But make that make sense because I just sat here and did the math. If I didn't have my second job, I would be in the fucking negatives after I paid rent and all my other.
See, that's a trip right there. That there's something wrong with that calculation. Not hers, theirs. However they're doing the income-based apartments. It's like they want you to be in poverty. That's insane.
So make that make fucking sense. So either I need to work 80 hours a week to afford a $2,000, $3,000 rent, or work less, even though I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. So like, what the fuck do you want? I cried all day when I found out I was not eligible for the apartment. Literally at work, doing deliveries, viciously sobbing. I can't f*** it. I'm over it.
I feel like people do not understand what a privilege it is to be able to move. Like, I am stuck in an apartment I cannot afford, and like, whether or not that's my own fault, whatever, but I am stuck in this apartment that I cannot afford because I cannot afford to move, because I do not have the funds to front a security deposit for another place before I get the security deposit back for this place. And I have to decide whether or not I'm staying here for another year in the next 2 weeks. Even though my lease isn't up until June 1st, and the way things are in New York City, I can't start looking for a new apartment until like mid-May at the earliest to move in June 1st. So if I decide not to re-sign, I could end up being, and I won't have the money, I won't have a place I can afford. Like, I just don't have the options.
People are going to be homeless. I wonder what they're going to do when they force people en masse into homelessness. Like,
other than staying here and spending my entire paycheck on rent.
This is just blowing my mind, because it's seeming like this housing crisis isn't just economic, it's psychological as well. And this is fundamentally altering how this entire generation is going to view the future. You guys hear the millennials and the Gen Z. I'm at the very top end of Gen Z. I know, probably look a little older, been married for quite a while, got some kids, but I got started young. But I'm still Gen Z. And whenever I'm speaking to people my age, my peers, there's not a lot of people that are hopeful for the future. Now, I'm one that thinks the future looks bright. I know that I kind of doom and gloom here on this channel, but I always provide solutions. People just don't watch long enough to get them. But this entire generation is not having very good outlook for the future. And what we're witnessing, I believe, is called the normalized impossibility. And this is the deliberate reframing of this broken, unaffordable housing system as the new normal. Media and corporations promote solutions like friends buying homes together or renting indefinitely, while normalizing 10% annual increases with stagnant wages. This gaslighting convinces people that it's normal to spend 50 to 60% of their income on basic shelter, when financial wisdom has always recommended no more than 30% and really want to be around 25%. The system is systematically creating a permanent renter class. Six-figure earners are now finding themselves locked out of home ownership, working multiple jobs with no path forward. And so many young professionals, when they hit that $100,000 income threshold, are so excited, and then they realize they still can't afford the lifestyle that they want. Corporate investors have fundamentally broken the market. Over 25% of new homes are now acquired by investors rather than families seeking primary residences. As a realtor, I remember getting called by these hedge funds, always asking for properties. I just believed that there was something ethically wrong working with them, so I never did. In some markets, though, corporations now own up to 30% of single-family homes, permanently removing them from the purchase market and converting them into overpriced rentals. These institutional buyers aren't competing fairly, guys. They're using algorithms, cash offers, and tax advantages unavailable to individual buyers. And this crisis has a profound spiritual and psychological consequence. People need stable housing to build communities and build families. Without it, we lose more than just shelter. We lose our sense of belonging and place. The impossibility of secure housing creates existential dread, delaying family formation and forcing young adults to perpetually live with roommates or parents well into their 30s and their 40s. And that's not something that anybody I know really wants to do, but they kind of got to do it in order to survive. I don't believe that this is a natural market outcome. As a free market capitalist, this is not something that would naturally happen. Not that I believe, at least. It's the result of deliberate policy choices that prioritize investor returns over human well-being. And this is coming from a real estate investor. Go ahead and do me a favor and subscribe at theedwardsreport.com for more unfiltered analysis of the systems working against average Americans in today's economy. We mix it with biblical perspective, and we try to find solutions on how we can survive in these crazy times.
Spring is supposed to be real estate's boom season, but Anthony Pompliano, you say that we have a crisis on our hands. We need to treat it like one. What do you think the path forward is?
There's 4 data points that really show this. The median asking home price is up 6% to $424,000. That's $50,000 increase since the start of the year. The median sale price in America is up 3% to $383,000. But I think even more importantly, the typical home buyer monthly mortgage payment is up 5% year over year to $2,800 per month. And so if you think about those numbers, basically what you have is you have homes becoming more expensive. You have debt becoming more expensive. We're not building enough homes. And so naturally you have this squeeze that's occurring. But people also forget at that same time you have real wages falling. And so people basically can't figure out how to buy a home or keep up with what is ultimately the real inflation that they're experiencing.
Prices need to come down. And nobody will admit that the inflated value of the home that you bought, wherever it may be, because literally every home on a coast is, despite the wildly out of control insurance costs, is overvalued.
But that's where most American wealth is. Like, people have been told for all of their life to purchase a home. It's the largest financial asset that Americans have. Their homes are essentially their piggy bank. Now, it's hard to call it an asset because it's not kicking off any actual yield for them that they could use. But a lot of these homes do grow in equity, and they don't want to see the price of the homes come down. So I get it, but it's also terrible for people who don't own homes because you're just getting left behind.
And so you can't tell the American people, well, you know, when you go to sell your house, you might not be able to get a premium for it. Sorry, but there's no emergency there. It's just that
high prices and mortgage rates, and you put those all together and we've got a disaster. I think President Trump wants to work on it, but I also want to talk about on the mortgage side how we got here, because over the course of the last 4 years under Joe Biden, the interest rate when he was inaugurated on the 30-year fix was 2.77%. It rose to 6.77% by July 18th of 24. It went back down in September of 24 to 6.08, but we've been bouncing around in these high ranges, making that prohibitive too for quite some time. That was inflation and the Fed.
But it was 7% last week, according to Mortgage Rate Daily.
Oh, no, I'm not denying it's not high.
Because people were dumping U.S. Treasuries. Now, the yields have eased on the 10-year Treasury, thank God. But again, if you create a treasury crisis and a U.S. debt crisis, that impacts home buyers.
So we've got supply problem, we've got interest rate problem, we've got a big mess. And Donald Trump has made home building and housing a priority through one of his executive orders. But you're right, Anthony, it is a problem at the local level, and that is quite a mess to weed through. But we're going to follow it.
I feel like we should talk about rent prices because this is getting insane. There are no places to rent around here where I live. It's unaffordable, and it has Boston prices. So if you know anything about Boston, it's like you get the smallest like cockroach infested place and you have like 3 roommates and you're paying like $2,500, and it's just, I don't know, like there's no options. There's just no options. Like there are no affordable options, and I need at least a 3-bedroom because I have 2 kids. And I'm looking and I'm like, you know what, I'll sign the lease here. Again, I need more time to look because there's just nothing. And I have to be within my kid's school district. So I don't know. It's like I looked into buying. I used to own. I sold that because there were so many issues and it was going to just go downhill. I just saw it. They had linked up the plumbing system to another condo unit. So 2 condos were on the same sewer line, and it was always back flooding into my neighbors, into my old condo. So I sold that. I renovated, I sold it, I got out of ownership. I had to deal with so much with that place flooding in both bathrooms. It was insane. And in the laundry room, like anywhere where there was mass amounts of water, it would flood, and it was just awful. And I'm not living in this anymore. But now, even entering the job market, it's hard. You can't get competitive.
I hope she disclosed that, because that is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Enough salaries, and the salary that I negotiated doesn't really give me entry into the housing market again. So like I sold and got out, and now I'm renting, but I can't see myself living here. It's too small, and I can't find an affordable 3-bedroom option without looking at buying. But I don't qualify because even though I make more than the national average, I cannot afford to get a house. And so, and there's no options for renting. So I don't know, like here I am starting a TikTok so that I can maybe have an additional stream of income, because I've been priced out. I've been priced out of the renting and the buying market with so many of you guys as well. And I'm a single mom of 2. It's just it's not going to work. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
To be out of my home in 2 weeks, which means I have 2 weeks to find a house, or else I'm going to be homeless. And I am here to tell you that there is no affordable housing. Affordable housing is a myth. You cannot support a family on 1 full-time income. Let me say it again. There is nothing affordable out there. Trailers cost as much as houses right now. Trailers cost more than I have ever paid in rent for any place that I have ever lived at. Ever.
What we're witnessing isn't just a housing crisis. It's the deliberate dismantling of the American dream through policy choices that favor the wealthy over the working class. That's just my opinion. While financial experts debate whether we're heading into a 2008 style crash or just sustained unaffordability, the reality for most Americans is the same. A future where stable housing becomes a luxury rather than a basic good. The world tells us to keep chasing bigger houses, taking on more debt, and measuring our worth by our address, even as that system makes those goals increasingly impossible for the average person. But remember this, even in our broken system, our worth isn't determined by what we own. We are more than our possessions, more than our addresses, and more than our credit scores. This message has resonated with you. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone you know who's struggling with today's impossible housing market. Let me know in the comment section below how the housing market is affecting your life and your community. I pray that the Lord blesses you, that He keeps you, that He makes His face shine upon you, and that He's gracious to you. I pray that the Lord turns His face towards you and that He gives you peace.